so many of us who've had multiple relationships, or at least two, could relate to this story. So most people can relate to trying to reenact or wanting to re-rehearse something with an ex. She is, I can't even remember if I actually decided on a profession, but she's a woman of a certain age, let's say nearing and hurtling towards 40. So she's somebody who's come to the wedding of the sister of her ex-husband, and probably out of curiosity, but also I suspect a need to try and come to fully understand and put, I hate the word, but I can't think of any other one, closure on the relationship, her marriage, which ended pretty badly and without any kind of sort of any kind of discussion. So I think it's in a way the whole film is a sort of portrait of, or a sort of requiem to a relationship, or a hymn to a funeral almost. It's them putting to bed a relationship that didn't work. Originally what attracted me was the script. I read lots and lots of scripts, and it was so obviously beautifully written. Loved both characters, and found it really intriguing. Added to which, there was a letter from the director which said it was an actor's piece. So that was kind of attractive. And the fact that he was going to do a split screen thing, which I found was intriguing. And but most, paramount was the writing. And on the whole, one's only as good as what's on the page, and it just seemed incredibly sophisticated, very well written, and honest and poignant, and a beautiful story. When you watch conventional film, you're literally being directed by the directors to what to watch. And this is a sort of giving the audience back their power almost, that, it's up to them. They can make their own story up. They could watch it several times, and they're focused, and they'll find a different story each time. They'll definitely listen to different things, because it's impossible to take in 2 frames and all the time. Simultaneously. But you'll get also, when I first watched it, the impression was stylistically was almost like the filmic version of how we think as people. Like, you'll get flashes of all sorts of things, of like what one character's thinking, or a lot of the time, in life, we're not fully present, our mind's elsewhere, so you get truly inside the mind of one of the characters. It was a worry at first to me as to whether it was going to be all about the style, and whether it was going to be a gimmick, and whether that was actually going to become between the audience and the story, and getting involved in the characters. But once, I think it takes a few minutes for you to get used to it and to sort of adjust your gear almost of viewing, and then I think it's highly involving, and you get more for your money. you get to see it all, and it's really fascinating. The fact there was a camera on each of us was fantastic, because I felt it was a completely different energy and way of working than normal, ordinary filmmaking, because usually it's just all on you, and then we spend another half an hour, and then turn around, and then it's on me, and it's sort of, when you're off camera, you're always going like, you're just automatically much more relaxed, because all the focus is on somebody else, and you're properly listening and observing the person, and so much of acting is just reacting. So it was a love scene. So yeah, it was actually much easier than most. I think slightly deflecting, but I found the whole acting part was a lot easier on most films, because of the video aspect, because we could shoot for far longer in takes that went on for minutes, which other people, I think laymen, think like, Christ, that must be terrifying. And said, no, it's much better. You're much more likely to achieve a concentration level and be in it, in the swim of it, and it takes over. That's the time when you're always striving for something to take over, and you know, when it comes through you. And I think most of the time on filming on, you know, on films, and particularly if you've got smaller parts or whatever, you're never even going to get a chance to do that. Whereas on this, I felt, you know, there were some times when I just thought I was in it, you know, without, and it's like stepping through a mirror. Then it's magic, and that's the few moments when you do it for, is like, you know, you walk through a mirror into this alternate reality, and it happens for you and to you. And I felt on this particular, like, you know, sex scenes or whatever they are, they tend to be so technical and everything, but it was fine because, again, I felt safe with Aaron. So, and Hans was very sensitive and was never going to make me do something I was uncomfortable with, although I had to kind of prove it from a character point of view, which I think I kind of faked, which was me taking my top off, and he, you know, I think he wanted, originally I was going to be topless, sort of standing up before getting into the bed, and I wasn't comfortable with that. So I did the whole thing, stripping under the what's it. You know, we were so interdependent on each other. But no, I was really excited that because I knew that I'd only be as good as the person opposite. So I find the longer you have it inside, then the more, you just need to marinate it too. And you need to not even think about remembering them when it comes to it. And it was fun though, because it was one of those things where we just ask each other a line. It was good to practice. But it did mean that if we got one line wrong, we'd be on like a mad merry-go-round, you know, back to the beginning again. We could have been like still doing this movie, saying the same, because it had an amazing circular thing too. If we said one line, then we'd be about, you know, 5 pages before we'd be like, have we been here before? Yeah. It was like, I was amazed at how well prepared he was, because we did only have 13 days to shoot, and it's pretty impossible to shoot a feature in that length of time. Without also, I never felt hurried, I never felt rushed, I never felt that he was shooting the schedule rather than, you know, I never felt compromised. And he knew his subject back to front, and he also loved actors, not necessarily a given with the writers, and gave really good notes. So I completely loved him.